So we are in makecode.microbit. We've signed in. We're going to click New Project for our questions. We're going to label it questions so we can delete it later or actually just rename it and create something different. And we're going to go from there. All right. So every time you open a new project, you'll always have the on start and the forever blocks here. And on start means as soon as you plug in and you have power, it's going to start the program. That might work for some things. You also can use some different buttons in here to pause it, then start. Forever block means the same thing it has if you use any kind of code. It will run forever until the power shuts off or your microbit runs out of battery if you're using a battery pack. Or otherwise you have to unplug it. It will not stop unless you specifically tell it to. We don't have to use these. You can easily delete them. You're like, oh no, I didn't mean to do that. All right, in this first drawer of our blocks codes here, this is basic. This is where you have things for like showing numbers. This is going to be working with their LEDs, where you can draw pictures, and we're going to be talking about the X and Y axis. This is a block with icons, and they have a lot that you can choose from to help give you ideas. You can have streams, so if you wanted to, like when you see those digital signs at stores that say things, our microbit can do that. You have a clear screen, but here's the forever and the on start block, so you can keep that with you. So it's not like that's gone forever if you delete it. So this is where you get really creative on visual things. And when you bring something over, like if I bring over this heart and I put it on start, what it's going to do when I click play, this shows on my microbit. Right? This is going to give you an example of what it will look like on your microbit. Now the input drawer. Input is where you find your button pins, your button blocks and your pin blocks. Our microbit also can be, you can shake it to make it do things. So, and it can be tilted in different ways if you want it to do something. So let's say on shake, I wanted the heart to show. This is how it would work. And on here, online, it's going to give, you can do that too right now. On here, it's going to give me the word shake because we physically can't shake the computer screen. But I can run my mouse over it and it'll show a heart. Now besides shake, you have with the logos facing up, logos down, screen up, screen down, tilted to the left, right, free fall, because I said they're pretty durable. The 3G, 6G, and 8G, I'm going to be honest, Ms. Dunn's got to learn about these before we use those. And that was not part of my the program I was in. So I'm very curious about that. So these are other ways you can program something to start on your microbit besides on start or the A-B button. Now if I wanted to use the A and B button, I'm going to bring that over. I'll get rid of shake. Here's my A button. So I can click play, and then see, notice everything gets brighter, and then my heart's going because I have not pressed the button A, and I just click here, and then my heart shows up. If I wanted it to be the B button, I could easily change that, click B. And what's really cool, you have the option of being able to click both A and B. So we have a lot of different ways to start parts of a program to do things. So you can try that. Also in input, we have some blocks like right here. This is where we use for our compass. These little blocks here that have the little triangles on the end, or if they're rounded, we'll be using those in if statements and other ways. Now we have the microbit V2. So we have the speakers. We can control the sound. So, and this is where the logo is. Are you pressing the logo? Are you touching it, releasing it, long press? Those are very specifics. Also, you can control things by sound. Is it that would be a good way to make a sensor in a classroom. Like if it got too loud, the alarm would go off on your microbit. Or if it got too quiet, alarm or maybe a smiley face comes up. So there's different ways you can program it and use these blocks. I think that's all we need to see here. Yes, you'll just use those in other programs. Now let's look at more. This is calibrating the compass. So when you make your compass, you have to calibrate a compass. If you have not used the compass on your phones, you would have to calibrate it, and it'll tell you how. Well, we won't get into all of these right now. The ones here that you would use quicker would be on pin release, and that would be a different way we'll be showing things. And then on the V2s, you're setting the sound threshold because these are, before I lie to you, I think it's on megahertz, but I'm not absolutely sure. But you can determine what the highest sound level should be ahead of time. Now, what's really cool with ours, when we go to music, this is one of my favorite parts. In the music section, they've got play melody here. This is where you have, it always starts out with a middle C, and you can change it by clicking on this. I'm going to bring it in here. I'm going to switch this out. Put in the, and the one thing is, if you want to look at these blocks, I can click on it like this, but if you want to be able to see it very clearly, you have to put it inside of a block. So this says play tone middle C with one beat until done. So I'm going to put B, and it plays the note. And that's how loud it's playing. So you can see other things, like right here is a microphone. I'm looking at ours. I know we have the little dot. I'm going to be honest, I'm about 98% sure ours do not record. I'm going to look into that. There's another microbit that came out, I think, just right after. But let's say I don't want middle C. Like, who wants to just keep listening to this? You click on the C here, and you get a piano keys. And when you hover over them, it tells you what you're looking at. And then you also, so if I really wanted a G instead, I've got my G there. And if you want more than one beat, you have a beat, half, quarter, a 16th, 2 beats, and 4 beats. You can play until done, or if you want it playing in the background or looping in the background. Most of the time, if you're coding music or a song, you're going to do this. To code a song, you're going to have to go to YouTube, pull up a basic piano tutorial on whatever song you want to play to get your notes. I'll show you that on another video. But that's some of the things you'll find. You can set the volume, you can control the volume, you can program when you want all the sounds to stop. You can even change your tempo. You can set your tempo. You can add in other beats. This is melodies. Some of these, like this one here. I'll take this out. This is a melody. I'm going to turn this up just a little. They have some pre-programmed ones. So that's really cool. Yeah, that's in the music box here. And when you click the drop down, there's all of these that are pre-programmed. So if you want the birthday one, you used to have to always look that up on YouTube and program it yourself. Um, and change it to fun one. So change things. So this is, they got some pre-programmed music. So that's really kind of cool. Um, on the B2, we have this. It's playing with symbols. This is really pretty cool. So I'm going to play the giggle. That out. It almost sounds kind of alien. This one here, I haven't done a lot of it. See, it's spinning right down here, so that's why it's not playing it yet. There we go. So this is all based on frequency. So this would be something you can kind of play around with. All right. So that's what we're looking at in music. You can set it to have the built-in speaker off. Before programming this, if you want to use the alligator clips and connecting it to an external speaker or headphones, you'd want to set built-in speaker off. Otherwise, you'll hear it with the headphones on, but it's still going to play on the actual speaker on your microbit. So that's something you can turn off. One thing I didn't show you up here on this play melody, if you click on this, it looks like you're an LED display, but what it is, so you can play music this way and change your tempo. So there's lots of ways to create music on your microphone. Okay. All right. So we gone through basic input, music, and LED. LED. This is what we're going to be using later this week with the plots, where you actually plot X and O. And when you're doing that, you're going to be specific. And I'll go over that lesson in another video. Um, this is still connected to that. Now, radio, we will be doing some stuff with radio because the radio, how it's going to be set up, is like a walkie-talkie. And when we do that program, that's where we're going to measure how far away you can be from the other walkie-talkie microbit and still have a connection and be able to communicate. So that'll be kind of fun. Loops are really important. We'll be using that a lot. This is your repeat blocks. And the while false or while true, this is something that you're going to be using. This is our if statements, and we talked about our if statements some. We'll go over these blocks when we need them. Logic, more of our if true statements or conditionals. We've got just a straight if statement, if else, you can add to it. That's why they got this. So if I brought that out here and I click this, it's going to give me an else also. We'll be using those. We got some comparisons here. So we'll use these. I'll go over that when we need to. Variables. Variables you have to make. You guys are going to be used to variables from video games. That's how many points you get, what do you add or lose. It's also going to be how many lives you have normally, or if you have health. So our variables will be a little bit different. Well, like when we do pressure sensors, you have to create a variable to recognize what the pressure sensor is. So we'll go into that in detail later. Math blocks are just what they sound like. There's your math blocks. You're adding, subtracting, multiplying, all kinds of things that goes to math that we need to do. And extensions, these are other things you can add on to the microbits and create. So if you want to collect data, radio broadcasting, servos are cool. This is what you use for robots. I have a couple of servos, so we'll be limited on what we can do, but we can program them, maybe program some wheels to move or make some flying flags. We'll look at auto recording. That'll be a new one from us done also. One thing we can do later in the semester is I do have these coupons. I have a whole, about 30 of them, I believe. We can do some programming with them. And when that happens, we'll have the batteries for the coupons. So we'll do that after we learn to do other things. Now, I just did kind of a quick run through of all of these blocks. What you're going to be doing with your questions is reading the question and then writing in the answer where you would find the block you would need. So the first one just says, which drawer do you find a block that would allow you to add or subtract? So you're going to look at these here, and just real quick, which one of these locations would you need to go if you want to add or subtract? The math, yeah. So you're just going to write math. Math, you can say math section, math drawer. All right. So use the microbit to click on places to help you out on answering those. And if you have any questions, just let me know.